Alright, so in this tutorial we're going to continue on with our rig. So far we have our reverse foot rig, and that's working pretty hunky-dory, looking pretty good. He looks like he's a horse. Let's work up our thing here, and let's do the spine next. Okay. So what we're going to do for the spine is that if you think about a spine, it's not like this where, you know, there's an obvious, like, something sticking or you have a direct thing. And it's not like this where you'd maybe would rotate from a distinct thing. Instead, and we obviously don't have as many of those joints, but, you know, you would have a whole bunch, right? So there's 12 thoracic, and then... there's, sorry, just brought it to the top. 7 cervical, right? So that's in your neck, and then 12 thoracic, and then 5 lumbar. So there's quite a few joints in the spine. So it doesn't make sense to grab each one like so, because it would just be a lot of work to get it to do what you want. And plus, I'm not really able to direct this exactly how I want. So what we're going to do instead is use what's called a spline IK. And the idea here is it's going to draw a line on this, a CV curve, and then we are going to, using clusters and such, more or less parent that curve to some controllers. Okay, so first thing we need to do is this. Oh, I also did this because mine was way big. I went to animation, I went to joint size, and I switched mine to 0.10 because they were just too large. Okay, so we're going to go to, make sure we're in rigging. You're going to go to skeleton, and we're going to go to the IK spline handle, hit the option box, and turn off root on curve. I'm not really a big fan of that. Actually, root on curve. Maybe leave, actually, yeah, leave that, sorry. Turn off auto parent curve, number spans, twist type linear, number spans 1 is fine. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we're going to go like that. Now what I want you to do is you're going to click. Don't click here because you might accidentally grab the hips override. I want you to click this bone here instead. Okay, so a lot of you guys like this, so let's just go ahead and do it. So I'm going to go to Windows, and I'm going to turn on Outliner. So it's this little thing here. And I'm going to choose root joint. That's the easiest way to do it. So I want root joint. And then I'm going to click this one, which is my top spine joint. Okay, and that should, did that work? Looks like it didn't. Did it? I'm not sure if that worked or not. Looks like it did. Hang on a second. Let me do show. I'm going to turn polygons off. Okay, it did. So you want to basically click from this joint, the root joint, to the top spine joint. Okay, and that will create a spline IK handle. All right. Now, the way this works is like this. It creates this IK handle. And then it also creates, let's see, where did it put it? All right, it's not in there. Oh, right here, the curve 11. So it also creates this curve, right? See the line on the inside here? And basically, wherever that curve goes, the joints will try to follow. So I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so I can't select joints by clicking on this. I'm going to right-click and go Control Vertex. And now what you're going to see is when I move that curve, when I affect that curve, and it bends, see the curves bending? The joints try to follow that curve. And it gets a kind of an interesting look to it, okay? The IK handle itself will do nothing for us. We're going to use one aspect of it, but other than that, this IK handle is not what really is going to be controlling it. It's going to be this curve here in actuality, okay? That's the thing that actually does all the leg work. Okay. So, first thing we need to do is this. I need to take this curve. Let's rename it so I know what it is. That way I don't get confused. And we'll call this the spine spline IK underscore CRV. That way I know what it is. So spine spline IK CRV. because curve, whatever, 11 or 17 or whatever the heck it was, that's not very useful. Okay, so with that selected, I want to not be able to select joints so they're not in the way. So up here, turn joint selection off. Or you could even try doing this. You select it here and hit Shift I. That might make it easier. Turn that back on. That way I don't have to. So however you want to grab that spline, that spot, the curve. So I'm going to right click over top it, Control Vertex. Now you could make this a couple different ways. I could make a cluster for each one of these curves, right? And that's nice because you can see I can make like an S curve, which is cool. And then, put ones up here too, so you control every one of them. But I don't find that much of a savings because, I mean, I think I had like, I don't know, 5 joints or something. So making 4 controllers isn't that big of a deal, or isn't that much of a benefit. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the bottom 2, because I could take these bottom 2 and rotate them like this, and take these bottom 2 and rotate them like this, and I can get kind of the same thing. So what I want to do is I'm going to grab the bottom 2, and then I'm going to go to Deform and create a cluster. And that will create a cluster there. Right click, Control. And then we want to select the top 2 and then hit G because it was the last thing we did. Boom. Okay. And now when I select this and I rotate it, it's the same as grabbing those 2 vertices. Okay. And that will allow us to control the joints, which is good. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll have nothing selected, hit Shift I so we can see everything again. All right, this is going to get a little bit hairy trying to control all of our business here. Let's grab, we'll leave those alone for now. Those are fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our waist curve here. So I'm just going to go ahead and show polygons again so I can see my dude. And let's create a waist controller. All right, so this time I'm going to do is go to Create, Nerves Primitives. Don't think square is good. Let me double check, but I think, is that 4? Yeah, see, it's 4 separate lines, and that doesn't really help us. So we're going to go Create, NURBS, do Curve Tools, do CV Curve Tool, hit the Option box, and make sure it's on linear. It's usually on cubic by default, and I want you to just do this. Just go hold X for Grid Snap. And I'm just going to click here, click here, click here, click here, and click here. So basically, and then hit Enter. It's just going to go around one grid thing, right? And if your grid's not on, it's just this here. Okay? All right, so now we have that CV curve. Go Modify Center Pivot, so it's in the center. And then also in the Attribute Editor, let's change the color of it. So go to Object Display, Drawing Overrides, Enable Overrides, and I'm just going to go ahead and make this red. Bright red. There you go. Boom. So now it's this nice bright red. Good. And what I want you to do is take this and then hold V for point snap, and I want you to snap it to the spine joint. You can see it's kind of hard to get to. So I'm going to go ahead and do Show and turn polygons off. I'm going to hold V again, snap it there. And then Show, turn polygons back on, and then I'm just going to hit R for scale, and I'm going to scale it bigger like that. And we will call that my waist controller, and maybe I'll just try to scale it more closely to his body. All right, like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and Control D and hit W for move, pull it up. So I have a second one. I'm going to turn off my polygons again. And I'm just going to hold V for point snap, like very, very voracious. I don't know. And I'm going to hold V and point snap it up there. Show polygons again. And I'm just going to scale this accordingly. All right, doesn't need to be quite so big. Good. So now I've got a waist and a chest controller. Okay. Obviously, they're not really doing anything yet, but they're at least a start. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this bottom one, go to the channel box here, and let's rename this one root controller underscore CRV. So root controller underscore CRV. Select the top one, And let's call this one let's call it chest controller. Controller underscore CRV. All right. And now, so we have the top one and the bottom one, but you'll notice they have a bunch of these dirty values. I want to reset these to 0. All right. Okay, so I'm going to select this one, shift select this one, just so I can do both at the same time. So this one, I'm going to go to modify freeze transformations. That zeroes out my transformations. And I'm also, just to make sure, I'm going to go edit, delete by type, not all by type, delete by type, history. So in case there was any history on it, that will be good too. Yay! Okay, so now I got these clean controllers. That should be pretty good. Okay, so I need to parent basically this cluster to this controller, and that cluster controls the curve, and this cluster controls the curve, and then those will be controlled by these controllers here. So I'm going to grab the one, this guy, so that goes to this one. Shift select the, select control or command select, depending, it might be control, I'm not sure on a Mac, but sometimes it's command, sometimes it's not. So select the one, you could do it this way actually. Select this one, hold shift, select this one, that'll work too. Whatever. You want to grab the one and then the other one second, and then hit P for parent. And now, when you rotate this, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay. And then, that was a little too much. Select this, shift select that, and hit P. And again, same thing, I can now control this. Okay. And I can control this. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Okay. Good. Now, that's pretty good, and you can see now I can take this and I can pull this over and I can rotate it, okay, and it's going to try and follow it, and that's pretty great, but there is one issue. Watch this. I can't spin it. And the reason why I can't spin it is because basically if I think about it, if you take a single vertice and you rotate it, nothing happens because it's a single point in space. These are just merely controlling vertices, so there's no way to actually rotate or twist this joint chain, except that there is. So if you remember before I said there's this IK handle, you'll notice that it has this cool twist attribute. See that? Which is great, but obviously I don't want to have to select that handle every time. So what we're going to do is connection editor. So go Windows, General Editors, where are you? Connection editor. Okay, and let's reload right. I want that on the right side, and then select the chest controller and reload left. So chest controller to IK handle, and we're going to go from rotate, the rotate Y, because that's my Y axis, to the twist. So basically, when I punch in my rotate, that's the same as turning on the twist, which just so happens to line up exactly where the other thing is. So make sure I zero that back out, close that out. Voila! So now you can see we have the full range here of it working. Okay? Oh yeah, that's super nice. Okay. The other thing I want to do is, if I bend this overwards, I mean, that's great, but it would be nice if maybe this would be parented to this, just for the sake of making it easier. So select this controller, then shift select this controller and hit P. And now when you rotate this, it rotates the top one, and then you can rotate, this one again, or you can grab them both. So I could select this one and select this one, and then rotate both of them. Okay, or grab them both and do like a twist. Yeah, it's pretty great. Okay, yeah. So now if I go to move this, you can see it sort of. Well, looks like it's working actually. All right. but when yeah, that looks fine too. You can see when I'm twisting though, it's not really twisting. So I'm going to do is actually take the root joint, so root here, and then also parent it to this curve. So I'm going to select the root joint, shift select the curve, and hit P. And now when I go to rotate, it will also rotate that. And then let me double check. Okay, good. Yep. So now you can see that's a little bit more what I wanted, because it wasn't rotating with it, and now it does. So now it's both the joints rotating with this, and this is also rotating there. Okay. That is the basics of a spine, which took 15 minutes. And good. So we're going to, after this, I'm going to make a, we're going to do is make this all in pieces and then kind of connect it all together. So I think what I'm going to do next is make some IK controllers, or FK controllers, sorry. And then we'll go from there.